What's going on, Digimon Tamers? It's your boy Kage, and today, happy Banless Day, baby. Well, restrictionless, you know what's up. Basically, we're going over the stuff that is effective August 31st, so you got about 8 more days to play that shit in locals. Get your last couple of locals in before this stuff happens. And we got some good hits today, didn't we? Alright, so first and foremost, the little devil himself, Promo Ukomon. Now, this card right here was causing so much trouble for the meta, along with BT16, but the BT16 one is a little bit less difficult to deal with. It costs 1, so I'm pretty sure that's their whole take on it being fair and all that, while this one was a 0 cost, and then you just hit it with Louis and basically gain 2 memory, or the crazy part, if you think about it, it was actually really nuts because of the fact that you brought him out, hatched out an egg, and then Louis gave you 1 memory as well, so you gained 2 memory off of that. So you played essentially a turn 1 cost memory choke, and then it would be your turn. You play a Digimon in the back, and then you're essentially about a turn and a half ahead. So it was too much consistency with this one card right here. So we're gonna go ahead and read the reason why they did it. It was intended for this card that could be combined with Promo Louis and used in a variety of decks, but the importance of this one card turned out to be much bigger than predicted, aka they done fucked up. As it increases the speed of control decks and doesn't require level 3, it provides many options by securing memory. As a result, there's a difference in power between decks that can use this card and can't use this card, resulting in a loss of diversity in decks, aka they were tired of seeing you guys run 4 Louis and 8 Ukomon. And if you have a history in any card games, you would know that this is a giant no-no. Anything that gives you like this type of plus or these type of advantages or stuff like that, these are the type of things they try to stray away from, or they try to they let you have it for about 3 to 6 months, maybe a year. Depends on how toxic the actual meta is, which was pretty toxic because it was mostly decks that had these with Ukomon in it, red hybrid with Ukomon in it, blue hybrid with Ukomon in it, Numemon with Ukomon in it. People were tired of seeing Ukomon. Like, even the people that were playing Ukomon, like, I just went to a locals this past Wednesday, and people were tired of seeing it. They're like, dude, I hate playing this card, but it's so good. And they're like, I don't blame you. I don't blame you for playing a broken card. But it's like, you need to respect and understand that the card is broken. Resorting in loss of diversity in decks that can be used. For the above reason, we have decided to restrict this card to 1, which is a good hit. So now, instead of having 8 Ukomons, you have 5 Ukomons, and then I'm pretty sure the other Ukomons being watched, but people are smart. They'll probably, play only 2 of those guys, and then 1 of the Ukomon, so you have 3 Ukomon chances. Yeah, I 100% agree with this hit. It was either that, or I was thinking doing a choice restriction where you can't have both of them in the deck. It's about the same thing, so works out that way. Up next, obviously this broken piece of garbage right here too. So you see this is the 3 drop right here. So this Ukomon is 0 for the evolution cost, and then this forces the Uko out when you play him. So your turn 1, if you had these 2 in combination, you were memory choking your opponent to freaking 1, which was actually kind of irritating. Let me put up a scenario here, because this has happened to me several times. You would go Ukomon, the one that costs 0 to evolve, draw your card, so you're not losing tempo, and then you would throw out a Louis, right? And this would effectively end your turn, passing me 3 memory, right? You go, oh, Louis, yeah, go ahead and push out my level 3 Digimon, aka Ukomon. Ukomon pops off, and Louis pops off, because it's still technically your turn until effects resolve. And then what this would do would be like, oh, hey, it moves from the breeding area, I gain a memory. Hey, Ukomon saw himself move out the breeding area, I gain a memory. Oh man, your turn 1 is, you're here, I'm gonna pass you 1 memory, here you go. And normal plays are, hey, I'm gonna pass you 3, go ahead. And you're like, okay, cool. And you try to do something with the 3 memory. This giving you 1 memory is ridiculous, because then you're basically choked out to either passing it back to 1 memory, which a lot of people do. Basically, like, you Digivolve in the back, but then you're not really fully set up. So, or if you're giving them 4 memory, aka like 3 memory essentially, for passing them a memory tamer or whatever, that's another problem that was running into, like, you drop a memory tamer so you wouldn't get memory choked anymore. At that point, they're already pretty much set up, so they're just gonna be like, okay, cool, play a rookie in the back, play this, deal with it. And the deal with it was like, how do you stop the Ukomon from Ukomon? Like, you're gonna have to pop it, and you don't want to waste resources that early on something so minuscule, or it seems minuscule, but it's gonna snowball later. It's just, it gets ridiculous. Okay, by repeatedly combining the effects that aren't OPT, such as BT6 Madashida's cards on play effect, the game accelerated dramatically, making it difficult for many decks to compete. Yes, very much so. And because various decks use countermeasures against this combination, decks are strongly affected by the countermeasures are no longer longer able to perform as effectively as they should, resulting in loss of diversity. Yeah, so basically this got hit as well because of the fact that, like, if you noticed, a lot of people's deck choices have been changing because of the fact that, like, these two cards are in there, so people were throwing in more Tamer hate, and people were also throwing in more popping stuff that pops Ukomon. And the reason being is because of the fact that, like, you really don't want to have to deal with this type of crap early on, like a freaking +2 memory engine going on here, and then if you left Ukomon on the board, he's just spamming out eggs. So then next turn we'll go ahead and rookie up. You know, you have 2 extra memory to fuck around with, and in Red Hybrid, that's a death sentence, because, like, if you gave them anything higher than a 2, they might clap you. If you give anything that has anything higher than a 2, they might just go full combo and you clap you, and then you're just like, okay, cool, that was worthless. And, like, that's how you feel. You feel when you're playing that, like, that type of shit, like, you feel like your turn was worthless, essentially. And then as I read this, yeah, to 1. Now this card needed to get hit years ago, but, like, you know, better late than never. It's not really that big of a deal. I don't actually have a problem with the card being at 4 or being at 1. And Bing is because of the fact that this card right here was one of those cards that, like, I found irritating. Honestly, I just found super irritating to play against. And the reason why I found it irritating to play against was because of the fact that, like, if you played against a blue deck and they had like 3 stacked in hand, which normally they probably would because they just drew so many cards, you would be like, okay, cool, Hammer Spark, Hammer Spark, Hammer Spark, and then you're like, okay, you got fooled. And it's so annoying because, like, you have things like mental training and blue mem boost, and you also, on top of that, you have stuff that gives you memory anyway. So you were just gaining a shit ton of memory in blue and going off with, like, stuff like Ancient and Mirage. Hell, Blue Flare was doing it. It got really irritating. And then if you hit this in security, oh, Jesus Christ. I remember one time I hit back to back. The dude running 4 of them. Hit back to back, and I lost like 4 memory off that one turn. It was pretty annoying. So yeah, I'm okay with this being hit to 1. It's not really that bothersome to me. Awakening of the Golden Knight. Now, I play Magnamon personally. I have the Magnamon deck, and I 100% agree with this hit. Everybody that kept saying Magnamon X antibody needs to get hit, I hard disagree. You can literally jump over, play over that card, smack the shit out of that card. It's not really that big of a deal. Now, what I was annoyed by / worried by was the fact that, like, this right here made it to where you could ignore the absolute hell out of, like, whatever you were playing. You have a Magnamon, and then, like, you bring it up and you go, hey, I currently don't feel like going 6 into a Magma X. I'm gonna play Awakening of the Golden Knights and keep turn while having this guy out so that I can pop my effect, and then swing, take a security, stand back up, do it again, and then basically just have a giant wall sitting there for that first turn. And then as soon as you sit there and try to retaliate against me, I'm gonna stand back up and get to block you this time for ungodly amounts of DP. And then, like, couldn't have his DP reduced, so you really weren't doing shit to him. He was already unaffected, but then on top of that, his DP just wasn't getting reduced either. So sucks to suck, honestly, just what happened. But I do agree with this being a hit to 1. Honestly, this doesn't hurt the pure Magnamon deck for the most part. Yes, it does hurt just a little bit because that's the 1-up, so you really have to think about your time you want to crack into this, if you want to do that early aggression or if you want to do it later. But that's not the whole thing. The more important one was the fact that, like, so for Magnamon, this was actually pretty cool, especially in security as well, because this would return a Magnamon from your trash to the hand, so you can get X antibody back and then add this card to hand. But it also worked really, really, really well in fucking Yellow Vaccine, and that was a very irritating deck to play against, especially, like, considering that type of stuff right there is something that, like, would just trigger you, would probably just send you having to deal with this type of deck. So it's good that that got hit. And yeah, see, like, as I'm explaining, this card is used to mainly uses Magnamon X antibody, which is a high usage rate in racing environments. When combined with cards such as level 3 cards that support Digivolution, aka the like promo Demons and, like, all the other stuff that, like, gives you pluses for digivolving on top of whatever. It made it to where, you know, you're gaining memory, reducing memory, reducing cost by whatever. And so instead of doing like a 3, you'd hit it for 2 or some shit. Make an early board and then just, again, start clapping people. I do it all the time. The buff play is very powerful, creates situations many decks can't handle. Yeah, that's the only issue I had with it, was like doing it for 6 is fair, and then doing it for 3 was like, what the actual fuck is happening? Why am I getting clapped this fast? Yeah, so restricted to 1, I agree. I 100% agree with this too, because I was just talking about this card at locals and how it needs to get either hit or something in the deck needs to get fucking smacked on, because this is a nuts ass card, and I don't know what the hell they were smoking and letting us keep it for like almost 9 months. We're in BT 17 now, and this came out in BT 15. And on top of that, like BT 16 made this even more dumb. So it was just like, do I really want to hate on this deck, or should I let it rock? And me, I was like, hey, Nume X needs to get hit. I'm tired of seeing it. Tired of seeing it, bro. When using Numemon decks, this card is high board retention. Yes, it sure does. You basically would kill, let it die, and then bring it back, only to have like the inheritable reuse stuff. Like, let me just read off this. Retention from the beginning of the game, and this inherited effect can be reused when combining with other cards, allowing this card to single card to significantly increase the ability of the control the entire game. So basically, like, you had 4 copies of this card, and what I would do when I was playing Numemon before I found it very boring and just stopped playing was like, you bring out a level 6, dude. You can bring out like Platinum Nume, and it's like, jump over me, bitch, and then you can drop a 7 on this dude. You can drop a ruin mode on the guy. Like, it's ruin mode bait. You're like, oh, damn, you didn't get that dude on the board? Ruin. And you just sit there and look at him, because you know you just shed it all over them, and they can't do anything about it. It just kind of sucked. And in addition, since the level 6 I was just talking about this. Since a level 6 can be played by this effect, it's easily to evolve into a level 7, which has a higher output and creates a one-sided control board early stage. Yeah, if you get that shit off quick, they can't do anything about it. And then if your ruin mode dies, they get screwed out of like possibly 2 more turns. They can't do anything about it, which sucked. And then like, don't even get me started on what first mode ace. Like, you can literally shit somebody out for attacking on you, or like you're like, oh, you're still attacking, ace. And it's like, why can't you do that? We expect that this card will play a very large role in the deck, resulting in a loss of diversity of cards included, and then for that reason, we have restricted this card to 1. So I'm expecting to see this deck get changed up quite a bit, considering it just lost 3 of its major pieces, or 1 of its major pieces, and essentially, they're gonna have to figure out a new way to play it, because you can only do that stupid shit once. Up next, we got TK, or Takaishi, aka Takaishi69 over here, little snitch. Now, this card is absolutely annoying, especially like early game against Yellow Vaccine, and then anything that's playing like some stupid ass like security control board thing. Now, this thing was making things take way too long, so I do agree with the wording over here, but it is also doing like the shenanigans, which is just absolutely annoying, because like, by returning the top card of your security stack to your hand, you may place 1 yellow card with vaccine in the traits from your hand to the bottom of your security stack. So basically, like, you were shuffling out your security, like, oh, I don't want this card in my hand, I want this in security bomb. You stick something down, you pick your top one up, so you were just replacing, and then it was like, when a card is added to the security stack, then you just like, okay, cool, I'm gonna go ahead and gain a memory. And then that shit would literally, once you had 1 on the board, it was pretty much over. It was complete, because the next one would come out, and then you'd be gaining 2 memory, because you did it again. You're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna just switch out. Oh hey, look, this card's doing this. I'm gonna go ahead and gain a memory for it. As you keep doing it progressively throughout the game, because there's a bunch of cards that manipulate your security to give you your security to your hand, and then switch it out with something that's going to go from your deck to your hand, and or your hand to the security. With that, it was very annoying and very irritating to sit there and have to deal with. It also caused this weird game state to where like the shit was lulling, right? Technically, they're making plays, so it's not considered slow play, but it's super considered slow play. The cards baked in to make it be slow play, basically. I understand the hit for this, limited to 1 copy for obvious reasons. Cards fucking jank. Now we're going from restricted cards that will be lifted. Now, I was very pissed off this morning when I looked. I thought this was hit again for some reason. I don't know what I was smoking. It was like middle of the night, and I was like, what the fuck? Didn't they already hit Galabumon? What the fuck are they doing? This is unrestricted, and this is the only card I got unrestricted on. And honestly, I feel like this needed to come back in order for Garurumon to actually do jack shit, period. Reason being is because like, you had to throw so many weird pieces into New Gabu in order to make it work, and it wasn't worth it. So people just kind of stopped playing it for now. But I think like with this, it should be just fine. Honestly, this card does what it does. It facilitates its combos. It facilitates what it wants to do, which is like, draw. You basically accelerate your draws, and then you discard 1. Accelerate your draws, discard 1, and you can keep doing that, unfortunately, because you have unsuspend effects. So you just keep doing that shit. It's all good. And the reason why they unrestricted it is because like, with the deck that was abusing the hell out of it, aka Anubismon aka / Garuru engine nonsense. Yeah, they basically were just hitting that preemptively because they were tired of seeing that shit. Yeah, it can come back. Honestly, I felt like Gray X could come back, but I need to figure out like just what the combo is for that before I get to jumping on my high horse screaming into the high heavens that we need Gray X back, because like, I don't know, I feel like we do need it back to make it to where it's it's capable with the rest of the decks. But at the same time, I feel like it's in a decent spot to where with all these slowdowns now, I don't think that we necessarily need it. Now, the reason why I said Gray X could come back was because of like, I did not anticipate this list being that cutthroat, dog. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I did not expect it to be this cutthroat. I was like, all right, well, you know what? If they let you keep all this crap, I want my damn Greymon back. Because it's like, how's that fair for anybody else if, you know, y'all get to keep this new Greymon bullcrap and all this other stuff, and I had to still like struggle with dealing with the nonsense of this deck. But yeah, that was the list. I think it's actually a very solid list. With the 6 cards that got hit, there's a lot of cards that, or there's a lot of decks that need to start switching up their game plans and figuring out how they're going to go about playing from now on. And there's a lot of cards that can come, or there's a lot of cards that are affected by this, but like it also gives you back some parts of your deck that you can actually use cards in now that space is not so tight. Some of these cards got fucking hit. So yeah, get to the building, scrubs. Peace.